Am I the asshole because I didn't tell my date we were going Dutch?
I recently went on a date with a guy that ended really oddly, so I need some outside eyes on the whole thing. I, 27F, went on a date with a friend, Jake, 31M. I had suggested coffee, but when he mentioned the restaurant he wanted to go to, I agreed. It is a nice place and I have been meaning to go there. I figured worst case scenario I would get a chance to check out the food. We actually had a nice time. I ordered drinks, appetizers, my main, and dessert.
He only had water and his main.
He tried a bit of my appetizers but said they weren't his thing.
When the bill came, I made sure to tell the waitress that we had separate checks as this was our first date and I always pay for myself on a first date. I emphasize first because I thought it went well. He seemed like a genuine and pleasant guy.
I was looking forward to seeing him again. I heard from my friend that set it up that Jake thought I was kind of a dick for not telling him I was paying for my own meal.
The reason he only had water and a main was because he thought he was going to be paying a bunch of money for my food and drinks.
I guess he was upset because he would have liked to order more, but our bill together was over $200. With tip I paid $145. I can understand why he would be upset, but I don't think that's on me. I always pay for myself on the first date, like I said. Unless it's coffee.
Guys edit, Fuda, get pissy sometimes if I don't let them buy me a coffee.
I cannot be the only woman who pays for themselves, can I? Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Would it have been better to specify in advance who was paying? Sure.
Would it have been awkward to bring that up before a first date?
Sure. So it's completely normal at the end of a first date to suddenly realize you had different expectations about who would pay. There is nothing at all wrong in your assumption that you'd split the cost.
For him to think you were kind of a dick for splitting the cost is absurd. It strongly suggests to me that there should not be a second date given the disrespect he's shown toward you.
I bet the asshole in this story is your friend.
Your date might have just expressed that it was too bad he didn't know you were going to pay for yourself, because if he knew, he would have ordered more for himself. Notice that he didn't tell you this, he told the friend. Then your friend spread the info to you, maybe with some exaggeration, misinterpretation, or just badly phrased. If that's what happened, the guy did nothing wrong. If you liked him, ask for a second date, and then if you want to, you can ask about the situation.
Not the asshole. Not the asshole.
He's not mad that you paid for yourself. He's mad that you didn't tell him ahead of time so he could have afforded to order himself more items? Bro shouldn't have chosen a restaurant outside of his budget.
Nah.
He budgeted for two, so he didn't order as much as he wanted, which I think is gentlemanly of him. You wanted to go Dutch, which is totally okay as well. Maybe in the future let your date know you want to go Dutch?
Not the asshole.
He's the one who suggested going to this restaurant even though it seems the restaurant was probably not within his budget.
I feel like if you had expected him to pay, he would have complained you ordered too much food.
Am I the asshole for refusing to wear a bracelet I wanted, but my husband paid for?
I, 29F, wanted to buy a bracelet for myself because I finally had a job after searching for a long time and wanted to treat myself.
My husband, 35M, suggested I buy it from his parents because they run a jewelry store and they'd offer me a good deal. That had been my plan anyway, so when we visited them, they live in another state, I went by their store and had a look at what they had in stock. I decided on a piece but didn't take it right away, as I needed to withdraw some cash. A few days later I overheard my husband talking to his mom about me but couldn't hear what it was about. Context info. There had been some negative talk in the past about my struggling to find a job and I wanted to know if that's what it was about.
I asked my husband later what they were discussing about me and he said, nothing, but I got the feeling he felt caught out. Then he said they were talking about the bracelet I wanted and he was going to buy it. I said I was happy to buy it for myself but he insisted, and said he'd sort it out. I was thankful and said okay.
Then, after we returned home I asked about the bracelet and he said he was going to give it to me later, maybe my birthday.
I was annoyed because I wanted to buy the bracelet and wear it, like immediately, and that's what I would have done if he hadn't bought it. He said he paid for it, and that was a nice thing for him to do. I agreed, but said if he kept it, then it felt like he took it from me, and was making me wait to get something that I was prepared to pay for myself. We had a low-level fight about it, after which he said I can just have it right then, but I said I didn't even really want it anymore because now every time I wear it, I will think about this argument and the whole gesture feels ruined. He accused me of being ungrateful.
We recounted this story to his friends. I don't have many friends as we moved here recently, and they all agreed that he paid for it. So I should just be happy, but I feel like if he wanted to pay for a gift that I had picked out and was about to purchase myself, then it's not fair to make me wait months for it.
Am I the asshole for being upset about him keeping it? Not wanting to wear the bracelet anymore? Info. He did give me the bracelet right after the discussion, but as you can imagine, it wasn't as happy a moment as anyone imagined. I was almost in tears from trying and failing to explain my POV, and he was also feeling frustrated. Not the asshole. I find the one saying YTA so strange.
It feels like a weird power play by your husband.
I would not be happy if I was going to buy myself something with my own money, then have my significant other tell me they would buy it for me, then refuse to give it to me. Honestly, you should go out and buy a completely different bracelet and wear it with pride. Not the asshole. He started moving the goalposts.
You wanted that bracelet for yourself that day. He made his grand gesture and bought it for you. This is very nice, but then he decided to put some conditions on it, such as I'll give it to you for your birthday. My suggestion?
Go to another jewelry store and buy yourself a really nice bracelet and start wearing it right away. Not the asshole, he bought it for you. Great, now give it to you. I could see him saying, okay, now this is your future birthday present or whatever, but to buy, tell you and then hold it. Stupid. Could you imagine doing this to anyone else? Not the asshole. I hate when people do that. You were ready to pay for it, as a treat for yourself.
The kind gesture was paying for it, yes. But adding conditions after? Why buying it if it was to be difficult with it after? You're not ungrateful. He's the one making the gift about himself by not listening why you wanted it in the first place.
It happened with my ex too. I wanted a new screen for my computer, had the money for it, was ready to pay it, and was already searching which one. He said he wanted to pay for it and convinced me. Okay.
But after that, he wanted me to choose another one because the one I wanted was too expensive. So let me pay for it maybe?
No, he wanted to buy it, but at his condition only.
Not really a gift if I have to change what I planned. Does he usually do things that sounds nice, but ends up making you upset or uncomfortable? Like he controls how you feel and react under a pretense of being nice?
This happened in a Sex and the City episode. I would go and buy something else for yourself that you like as much as the bracelet, but also still wear the bracelet. Win, win. Am I the asshole for yelling at some lady on the train because I'm disabled?
Hey, so I'm 23M, was taking the train back home after the test at uni.
Context about me, I have a limp in my left leg due to an injury I got last year at a playground.
Context to the injury. Was running after my little brother when came to visit my family. He climbed onto some tall playground device and when I tried to chase him I tripped and fell right to my left leg, about 70 centimeters fall, and my leg taking all of my 87 kilograms weights led to breaking it in the wrong way to the point even after surgery and constant training to strengthen my leg, I can't stand for more than 10 minutes without a standing cane unless I want to start feeling pain in my left leg. So the train was pretty full, but I found a chair to sit at. About 12 minutes later some old lady, looked somewhere about 50-60 years old, got next to me and asked if I could give her my seat. I said sorry but couldn't, and when I said that she started yelling about how entitled young healthy people like me can't help an old lady like her. Some people started to look at me weirdly and I decided to channel the same energy as her and yelled back about the fact I'm disabled and can't stand for an hour plus till my stop and even showed my walking cane to show I'm not faking it. BTW, the cane was hiding behind my backpack so people couldn't see it. Long story short, she looked annoying but people started to look at her weirdly now and she left to the next cabin. I was feeling good about myself but the old man sitting next to me said I could have been nicer about it and he was right. I didn't need to go her level but some part of me is glad I did it to hope I taught her some lesson. Or at least hope so. So Reddit. Am I the asshole for yelling at an old lady because she was annoying me and made me look like a dick?
Edit. Spelling. Also sorry about calling in 50 plus old. Didn't know it, not consider an old age. Just listening to my father talking about how his 50s birthday is coming up and how old he is going to be made me think you're consider old at 50 and above. Edit 2. Holy crap, this blow more than I thought. Legit thought it will stop at 100,150 comments max.
Thanks for the replays, it helped me release while I could have been nicer. Being the jerk this time was most likely the right thing to do in order to stand up to myself this time. BTW, sorry for the spelling. English is my third language and I'm dyslexic. Also I'm writing this on my phone, so no regular spelling help apps to help fix it. NGL, I might not be impartial.
Heart condition.
It's managed now, but it used to be severe enough that I couldn't be on my feet very long and I had no way of proving it.
But for ME, not the asshole. I'm so sick of people assuming, I can't, means, nah, I don't feel like it.
You made a scene and maybe you embarrassed her, but you also taught a lesson to anyone in earshot. Disabilities are sometimes invisible or hard to detect.
Not the asshole.
Why do people always assume that just because someone is young doesn't mean they possibly don't have disabilities of their own?
The fact this lady started yelling at you over a seat on the train makes it ironic for her to call you entitled.
In a perfect world, she should have not assumed you were able to stand until your stop. In a perfect world, you could have been nicer.
This is not a perfect world. In this world you handled it very well. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. She deserved what she got.
The old man next to you is wrong too, but unfortunately a lot of people value civility over justice.
I have fibromyalgia. I get this on public transport a lot. I've had many a confrontation over it because I'm not a shy person and don't tolerate bad manners or ignorance.
The last time an old woman demanded I move and give up my seat on a near-empty bus, the old man opposite told her to leave me alone, to which she got snotty.
I about died laughing when he told her the bus is damn near empty and I didn't choose to be disabled, but she's choosing to keep being old.
Never had anyone stick up for me in those situations before, let alone someone of similar age to the old bag.
Not the asshole. 50-60 is not old.
Unless she was also disabled, she shouldn't have any issue standing. But next time just pull the cane out and see if they back off.
Am I the asshole for going to my wife's book club and giving her the kids?
I don't know if I was a dick or not.
My wife has a book club that meets up every Sunday at her friend's home.
It is supposed to be a lunch thing and she always tells me that she will be home around 3.
Every single time she has been late. The worst was getting home at 7 p.m. They went on a shopping outing. I have talked to her multiple times and I have expressed it as disrespectful. I am fine watching the kids, 8 and 10.
What I am not fine with is her lying to me about what time she will get home. It also just makes my life harder since she usually doesn't get home in time for me to hang out with my own friends, so I have to cancel.
We both work and the kids are in school.
I am an active parent.
I don't have a schedule get out of the home time like my wife does. So yesterday, I made it very clear that she needs to be home before 4 at the latest because my uncle is in town and we are supposed to grab dinner before he heads back to his home state.
Well, she told me she would be home at 3 and at 3:45 she wasn't home.
I drove to her friend's house with the kids.
When her friend opens the door, it's around 4:15 now, my wife was there and I handed off the kids to her. I told her I am going to meet my uncle and didn't answer any calls during dinner.
I got home and we got in a huge argument. She thinks I am a huge jerk for humiliating her in front of her friends.
I told her this wouldn't have happened if she just came home on time.
Info. Do you try calling or texting her before you went over?
Edit to add not the asshole. Up tired to call.
Wife had already said she would have been home at 3 o'clock. Nothing else had motivated her. Not the asshole. She backed you into a corner.
She is the one who brought humiliation onto herself by disregarding your needs and going back on her word.
You shouldn't have had to sacrifice time with your uncle. I don't think anything would have been solved by you sitting home one more time stewing and trying to talk to her about it again later.
That wasn't working and repeating the cycle wasn't going to end differently this time. To those saying you brought the kids into it, she is the one who forced your hand.
I generally don't like this kind of solution, but it was the only option left when she wasn't playing fair. AITA.
What I am seeing is her deciding she can do what she wants every single Sunday.
She sets up a schedule with you, then goes against it without warning or even the courtesy of telling you she will.
You asked for one important thing and she knew, so she had no respect for it.
She's mad she was embarrassed because she lied to you and her friends got to see it. Not the asshole.
You've asked her before to be home when she says.
She keeps ruining your social time. She promised to come home by 4. She either deliberately chose to ignore you or accidentally stayed out later. Either way, she doesn't care about your asks. She deserved this. My only quibble is with the children. It can't have been fun for them. Are they okay? Not the asshole.
Normally I wouldn't agree to such tactics, as I think embarrassing someone only makes a situation worse. But sometimes, it takes things like this to light a fire under someone's tail to make them realize their own shortcomings. Your wife was the one that failed to keep her end of things, and what happened was a consequence of that action. If she doesn't want it to happen again, then she needs to be more respectful of your time and not act so inconsiderately.
Not the asshole. You told her you needed her to take the kids by 4 p.m. She was obviously not going to do that.
It is disrespectful to be continually late.
Once is an accident.
Twice. Yeah, maybe you got caught up. But people who are continually late without even giving you a heads up are disrespectful and crappy people.